Wait, go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
I do. Molds. I would hate to like have a bunch of mold in my house and not know about it.
You think that black stuff is mold?
No, it's green. Look, it's over halfway through the video. The second video.
Yeah, I'm looking. You mean just like that's algae? Isn't that algae?
No.
That's mold. Do you think that's mold, JR?
Yeah.
What?
Yes.
Really?
Yep.
No, that's just algae. You think algae and mold are different, right?
Yeah. Algae is what you find normally in pools.
Yeah, it's just that green shit that grows anywhere where there's a ton of moisture.
Yeah. Well, that looks like green shit that grows on bread when it gets moldy.
Hey man, we got a bit. Where are you, at a Starbucks or something? Where are you, Bryson?
I'm at the gym.
All right.
It'll calm down in a second.
Okay, good. JR, pretty exciting, right?
Seeing Lydia?
Yeah, that's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I would say was pulling for her and for Kyra because there's a lot of Crucible names on that leaderboard, which is really cool. I would have been happy with either one of them taking the spot, but it's really cool to see Lydia do it.
Does Lydia actually train at your gym?
No,
Oh.
she's just competed at Crash. I think 2 years, and her coach Perrin has been coming to Crucible for like 4 or 5 years coaching athletes.
Oh, so, that's right. You know, I'm always getting her and Lindsay Lane confused. And Lindsay Lane was the one, we saw her somewhere recently too. She was at NorCal, right?
Yeah, she like trains at Crash daily, but no, Lydia's I think Lydia lives in Wisconsin and trains at like a local gym where she lives, but then she's at TTT a lot throughout the year too, I think.
Oh, and Spin doesn't have up what's wrong? Is Spin okay? Has anyone checked on Spin? Spin doesn't have the leaderboard up. All right. Well, we can't show you guys, but how excited. By the way, is Taylor going to come on, or is he just going to wear that hazmat suit all day?
No, I think he's just going to be working on that all day. So
he should come on in the hazmat suit.
I agree. Hey, so all of that shit is from that one little hole?
Like all the mold is from that one little hole?
Like all that water and that sound and that mold? Like, did you see the video, JR?
Yeah.
And you saw that there's a copper pipe with just like the tiniest, it's like a Gleeking stream. It's the world's tiniest like stream.
Have you taught your sons how to gleek?
No, I don't know how to gleek. Do you know how to gleek?
Mm-hmm.
Can you imagine living with 3 boys that know how to gleek? Listen, dude, I rode the bike while all my friends rode skateboards. I was that dork. And then, dude, when everyone was gleeking on each other, I couldn't do shit. I was just like, it's getting gleeked on. Life sucked for me. I'm telling you, I've always been a dork. My life is how Bryson looks.
Have you done it on accident though before?
Yeah, like when you yawn.
Yeah.
Did you have any good gleeking stories, JR? One of the brothers you played basketball with. Do black dudes gleek? I don't think black dudes gleek. They don't fuck with that shit, right?
No, they don't do gross stuff like that. They don't.
I know, right?
Like they're like they don't touch each other. They don't spit on each other. They don't
dick tap each other. No old shoes. Old shoes get thrown away. They do dick tap each other.
Only when you're shooting. Like only when you're like in the middle of a 3, they'll do it. But no. Yeah. No. They're not.
They don't do titty twisters.
Humor is very different. Yeah, they're not very physical at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
All right. Reason number 752 why it's better to be black. You don't get gleeked on by other brothers.
Yeah. Have you seen that interview that Steve Nash did with LeBron where he basically is like, listen, dude, like I wanted to be black like when I was growing up. Like,
oh, he said that?
Yeah.
Oh,
I
can awesome.
I mean I can relate to it. Just being around nothing but black people playing the sport for like years and years and years.
Dude, until Eminem came around, we were fucked. That's the best representation. I mean, you know what I mean? Like all the musicians were black.
Yeah.
At least I grew up. Can you think of one white musician? We had Vanilla Ice.
Like a cool one? No.
Like, yeah, just like Like I grew up listening to rap music, and I just can't think of. I'm trying to think if there was even one.
Like the closest thing we got to it was like what 311 in Lincoln Park. I mean, come on.
Yeah, and I didn't even. I'm just talking about rap music. I mean, like,
No,
did
there
Two Live
wasn't.
Crew? Did Two Live Crew have any white guys? Oh, and there was that there was the guys from LA who sung the marijuana songs. They were kind of like Mexican white, but they were kind of had a whiny voice. Who are those guys? You know what I'm talking about?
No.
Someone will know. You know, I Want to Get High. They sing that song. What were those guys?
Yeah, I hated that song. I don't know.
I know, because their whiny little voice.
No, just because all my friends got high all the time and played that song and it was obnoxious.
Yeah, Cypress Hill. You didn't smoke weed, JR.
No, I've never smoked weed.
Oh, that's awesome. Wow. You and Dave Castro. Oh, by the way, I don't know if you were here on this show, but we did a show where we were comparing Philip Muscarella to Rich Holden McRae. Holden, who's the guy, the Invictus guy? Emily Rethwell's husband? Holden Rethwell.
Mm-hmm.
And some chick, and so in the comments we were talking, I was like, hey, I think Philip Muscarella is better looking than Holden McRae. And then Jamie Latimer and someone else explained to me that dudes think the Philip Muscarella look is the better looking, look, and chicks think the Holden McRae was. And then some chick texted me yesterday, and she's like, hey, listen, Holden McRae is the hottest dude in all of CrossFit. What a crown to hold! I'd take that. I'd take that over making it to the games once, not twice, but once. Look at JR's actually given that. JR actually ran that through the processor. Well,
they're both good looking dudes, but like I know for
chicks
my wife,
chicks want to get naked with Holden.
They like, I don't know. I think the the guy from Magic Mike, Joe Manganiello or whatever, the really like
he was
hair.
at the games once. He was at the games a couple years. I saw him at semifinals and at the games. Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
So like that look, the Jason Momoa look, like,
yeah,
I think guys think that look is more attractive because it's like they just look like they have,
like they get out of bed in the morning and just
they can grow full beards, they have a ton
Yeah.
of testosterone, all that. But at the end of the day, like I think most women are attracted to more of a cleaner, like a pretty boy look.
Yeah. Like you without a beard. Look, you're growing your beard back. You were 6 hours ago you said you're gonna start growing your beard, and look at that shit already. God damn.
It's outrageous.
Oh, Bryson, I hate your audio. I hate where you're at. That you're kind of there, but
Yeah,
not there.
I know. Sorry.
It's okay. All right. We're done. I was trying to buy some time. By talking about attractive and ugly people. Oh, here's another thing too. I'll tell you one more thing I didn't like. I really like RFK, but did you see the joke he made the other day? He said, hey, that the whole No Kings thing was a psyop by the U.S. government to get fat people out and walking.
I didn't see that.
Okay, so he was on Theo Vaughn and he said that. I actually was wondering if it's AI or not, but he referred to fat people as disgusting, and I don't like that. I didn't like that. I don't find there's some fat people I find disgusting, but there's just some people I find disgusting. But I don't find overweight people disgusting. I don't at all. I think there's very attractive overweight people. That's my opinion. So those are my steroids have rotten RFK's brain. Can that happen?
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
Hiller's,
yeah, the room just cleared out. We're good now. Doesn't Hiller always talk about when he first started on TRT and his doses were like way higher? It's just like the psychosis it would give you. And I know TRT isn't like a steroid, but I've just heard so much stuff.
You mean like paranoia? He told
Yeah.
Hiller did tell me one time that if you were on Tren, that you could be in a room with your girlfriend with the door locked for a week and you'd still accuse her of cheating on you. Like that's how high the paranoia is. I thought that was a great example. I thought that was amazing. But other people I know who've gotten on doses of TRT have said they were on psychiatric meds their whole life and they got on TRT and they're like, holy shit, I should have never been on psychiatric meds. I just needed a little testosterone. Happy juice. And Hiller said when his dad got on it, his whole fucking demeanor changed. His whole life got better.
Yeah, I mean, I can see anything like that changing how your mind works. I mean, food changes how your mind works. People
Right.
are on drugs to fix their mental state because they eat processed food for 20 years straight and their brain stops fucking working.
Yeah, and yeah, that's a good point. And you know, people have been saying that for 100 years now, that basically all psychiatric disorders come from eating. It's not
Yeah.
not like a new thing.
I don't know. Whenever I say it, people call me a conspiracy theorist.
I went to one of the Metfix gatherings when I was still invited to them in Boston, and they had a psychiatrist there. I think he was head of the psychiatry department at Harvard, and he had been there for like over 20 years. And he said he had this really controversial theory, and he presented his theory to the people at the Metfix summit, and it was that that food could make you crazy.
Yeah.
Like eating too much sugar can make you crazy, and everyone in the audience is like, "Yeah, we know."
Or heal your craziness if you eat good food.
Yeah, good point. Pat Lange, Bryson, you're not a conspiracy theorist. You're just retarded.
Well, at least I don't talk about having sex with underage girls.
Wow, very quick. That's how quick you can be when you don't eat sugar. Okay, if you head on over to the Hustle Up app, which is owned by B Sport, which owns CrossFit, which I'm perfectly okay with. Yonakoski with 10 points. He has a second, a first, a second, a fourth, and a first. Any surprise there, gentlemen?
No.
It was workout number 4 that he did his worst in. That was the wall ball shots and legless rope climbs. Any surprise there that was his worst?
No, I think if I was going to pick one that I would assume other guys would beat him at in any kind of format, it's like could be an in-person type workout or an online type workout, it would be that one. But he's just so good online, and he has been for so many years, and he's so well-rounded that when these workouts came out, remember we talked about it, if he wants to do it, he's probably going to take the spot.
Yeah, I think the way JR worded it, if there was one that other guys are going to beat him in, I don't think Koski's like, notoriously bad at legless or anything like that. I wouldn't say, oh, that's going to be his worst one, but it would be the one that I'd be like, hey, there are other guys who are just going to be crazy at that one, and he's not crazy at it.
What does that mean that you're good online? I mean, I know what the outcome is, but what would be? Let me ask that question better. Let me be more specific. What would make you someone better online than in person?
I think it encompasses a lot of things. I think workout strategy, like being able to game really, really good scores based on like time splits on a whiteboard or someone with you telling you that you have 2 seconds and you're behind pace or you're ahead of pace. I think doing workouts multiple times is a skill. I think most people can do workouts twice and always get better. And then I think also just having information ahead of time to be able to plan for it is just huge. Otherwise, you're not going to do much stuff for distance. You're probably not going to run. There's odd object movements that you're just not going to do online. And for someone that's just really, really good at in a box, classic CrossFit, in a box is in like a 4x6 area, like Yana has been one of the best in the world for years and years and years.
What about the stress of competing in front of a crowd versus competing in the comfort of your own gym, or vice versa? The energy you might get from a crowd.
Well, that's what my first thought would be. Like when someone's really good online, or people are like, oh yeah, they're so good online, but they're not good in person. My first reaction is just, oh, they probably don't know how to control their emotions, good or bad, in person.
That's where you go.
Yeah. That's what I immediately think. I think JR is also right. I'm sure it's a combination of both. Some people are just one or the other.
I mean, you think that the excitement of being in front of a crowd causes people to come out too hot? Like that's like the leading cause of shit in the bed, or being side by side with other.
I don't even think it's the crowd. Maybe it is the crowd at somewhere like Wodipalooza, or if you make it to the games, but I think it's just being side by side in person. You have to go when they're telling you and your heat starts. You don't get to press the button on the remote to start your workout. And all that's making you nervous and excited, and everyone else is doing the same thing. And, oh, this is a good workout for me, or this is a bad workout for me. And I have to do it right now, no matter what, against all these guys. And I don't know what they're going to do, and all that excitement. I think is what makes people come out hot.
Yeah, and also I think some people are just way better racing than they are working out by themselves. I think while some people thrive in person, some people are, I mean, we used to call them practice players. Like I was one. I was way, way, way better in practice than I was in games. So, I mean, I think a lot of people would say doing stuff online is more like training. It's more like practice. And when you get into a race environment, that's when you can find that gear that you usually don't have. Some people are just better not in that situation.
You see that in the fight game too. Someone's like in the gym, they can only get to an 8, but on fight day, they rise to the occasion and they're just thrashing people in tournaments. Okay, so none of these scores are finalized. I don't think they'll be finalized for 4 or 5 days. I think I want to say the 19th, or maybe it's 3 days. I think the 19th, was it Thursday? The scores will be finalized. Do we know?
I think Spin posted that the review was the 17th through the 20th, which would be
Friday,
Tuesday through Friday. Yeah.
Okay, so we won't know probably for sure, let's say, until Saturday morning. Yonikoski, not a troubled athlete, not someone who gets penalized a lot, right? I mean, his reps are probably good. He's been a long time. Good. Comes from a good lineage with Miko Salo, whose reps were always impeccable.
Yeah, I don't think he's ever gotten like kicked out of a big competition or lost a bunch of spots because of penalties.
Okay, and then the other concern, by the way, the Hustle Up app, I will say this about the Hustle Up app for sure. Ever since I logged in and registered for it, every time I open it, it works perfectly, and it never asks me to log in again. Thank God. It's always just like 2 buttons, and I'm at the leaderboard, or 3 buttons. So they did that right. That it makes it convenient to look. But the concern was, and we talked about this in the last show yesterday, that if everyone didn't submit their scores, it makes the last 2 days irrelevant, because you need people in between the leader and the second place and the third place in order to move up in the rankings. So I'm going to go down. It looks like, go ahead.
I was going to say it doesn't make it irrelevant, but it just weights the first 3 events a bit more heavily, which
could be significantly more heavy if everyone doesn't do it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so Yonikoski did it, obviously. Nate Ackerman looks like he did it. I'm going to just go down the line. I'm going to open up all their little windows on the Hustle Up app. Spencer Panchik, 4th, 7th, 1st, 2nd, 3rd. Nate Ackerman, 1st, 6th, 3rd, 3rd, 2nd. Tom Kingdong, 6th, 2nd, 4th, 6th, 5th. Ben Fowler, looks like he did it. Mike Mazeradadze, looks like he did it. Seth Stovall. How would I know if someone didn't do it?
They would have nothing in for their 4 and 5.
Their times wouldn't be in. Yeah.
You don't think that it would give them just like an automatic last place finish? I think that's the way the Hustle app was.
It would give them an automatic last place finish, but it wouldn't have a score. It wouldn't have a time.
So I'd have to look at detail. Do I have to click on it? So how do I know? What button do I have to click? Like Riley Martin and Luke DeJong, both 4th and 5th. They have 8th and an 8th. And I'm sure they didn't tie. You see what I'm saying? Is there is there something I can click and actually see their times if I click athlete details?
I don't have the app, so I don't know, but usually, yeah, there
Yeah.
is. You usually just
You can
Oh,
click
so they
details.
didn't do it. Okay, so I clicked on it. So okay, so as soon as we get down there, Riley Martin and Luke DeJong didn't do the workout. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it looks like maybe 4 guys didn't do the workout. It looks like Dane, Shangrim An, and Luke DeJong and Riley Martin didn't do the workout. Which theoretically, if they all would have beaten Yonikoski, oh no, it still wouldn't have.
If those guys would have beaten Yonikoski, even if it wouldn't have done anything, just
in two workouts, if they all would beat Yonikoski,
right? Well, yeah, obviously
would be
in 2
going.
workouts, 100%. But even before this happened, that's what we were saying. In theory, like it is good for whoever's in first after the first 3. Hopes that as many people as possible don't submit their scores, because if the next 2 workouts are bad for them, or even if they're just like middle of the road workouts, the fact that you're already in the lead, the more people who don't do the next ones, those first 3 workouts are way more important and hold way more value scoring wise. Yeah. So, and then Yonikoski's case specifically, because we just said like that legless workout was his worst one. It's really good for him that some people didn't do it.
So overall, do you think it mattered?
I think Yonakoski still would have gone. I'm just saying, like, that's something that they should have known and done something about with the leaderboard.
If this is next year, and this is just the online stage, so we can call it a last chance qualifier, we can just call it online semifinals. If they were awarding more than one spot and the field was bigger, it would have huge implications. Like if it was the top 3 that were going, and there was only 50 people, or there was 100 people but only 50 submitted in the second window. Like I think this is something to look at for next year. I think just one big submission window, the leaderboard's blind until the Monday morning, and then it goes live. I think that's probably a better way to do it.
And by the way, I am getting mixed information. I am getting from sources at CrossFit that Hustle Up is 100% in control of everything. And we had Facundo on the show, and his information is contrary to that. So and I still don't know what the final. I don't know what the truth is. I don't know who to believe. Also, there were 2 comments in YouTube from our show. One of them was we showed Tom King Dong's video, and we watched it all the way through, and we saw that he had a perfect workout. He did great. We all agreed that all his reps that we watched were great, and probably a lot of people who had never heard of him got to see him work out and are like, holy shit. And it was probably good for his people being aware of who he is as an athlete. And that's the whole point of that's not the whole point, but that's the secondary effect of people having their workouts available online. The first is that as fans, if you want to grow the sport, we have to be able to see the playoffs. If we can't see the fucking playoffs, if you just go from the regular season to the Super Bowl, it's a big fuck you to the fans. And the whole premise of sport and making money off of a sport and making it grow is that the fans can watch it and follow along and judge the athletes. That's the whole thing. When you buy tickets to the opera, you're going there to watch the opera and judge the opera. And if you feel like it enhanced the quality of your life, then you tell friends and they buy tickets to go see the opera. But if you buy tickets to the opera, go to the lobby, do the pre-drinks with the champagne, then they do the opera and they make you wait in the lobby. And then when it's over, you go inside and you just clap and they come out and bow. There's nothing for you to fucking say. And so one guy was like, hey, good job showing Tom's workouts in the YouTube comments. And someone else actually wrote, hey, I don't think that they should have to show the playoffs. They should be able to make their videos private. Do you see any validity? Is there any argument? Can you play devil's advocate in any way that the CrossFit playoffs should be hidden from the fans?
That's what I was trying to think. I don't think there is any reason besides if you think that Hiller videos are bullying, or like people saying, hey, they didn't squat to depth is bullying. Like things that you just have to be so out of touch, because those are just objective things. If someone's not squatting to depth, saying it doesn't make it any more true or less true or hurt their feelings or whatever. If it does hurt their feelings, that's on them. But it's not. You don't have to pretend that it's not happening when it's happening, when someone else is squatting to depth and in a spot behind them on the workout.
It's the premise of the whole thing that we're doing. You go out there, you perform, we judge you, we're fans.
Right. Yeah. So next time there's a workout with snatches in it, I'm just going to do shoulder overhead because it's a lot faster. And then when people are like, and then if anyone says that I'm not doing snatches, I'm just going to say they're bullying me.
Can you think of any reason to hide it? That any validity to hiding it, JR?
No,
from the fans?
No. I mean, I think if this was an in-person competition, we all went and watched, but all said, okay, you guys have to wait behind the curtain, and then when they're all finished, we'll let you know who won. Like, yeah, it is kind of weird to think about. I really wish that. And maybe this is something they'll do moving forward, but obviously they proved they can do it the year that they had online semifinals with COVID. Is they're like, hey, Tom, at 2 p.m. your time, and Seth Stovall at 7 p.m. your time, and Spencer Panchik at 6 p.m. your time, we're all going to put you on a split screen to do workout 3. And so everybody can watch it.
Yes, they totally.
Even though
could have
it's
done that.
online, I mean, they could have done that. They've done stuff like that before.
It would be a little weird for a worldwide competition, but other sports do it, right? They fly athletes from the United States to Dubai, and they have to fight at 2 a.m, their local time. But you're right. They could.
And Rogue did it, and the COVID games, like stage 1 did it. That's what JR's saying. We've already done that in CrossFit before.
Yeah, and I get the whole like, well, you can't just pick 3 people and then have all the other competitors can just get that information. But what if it was a situation where, hey, there are 20 of you and there are 5 workouts and 4 of you are going to do one of them live for each one or whatever. So everyone's going to have one that everyone gets to watch, and then you're not going to have it's going to be a different one for everybody. I don't know.
What about making the window smaller too? So, hey, here's the workout. You have 12 hours to do it.
I think that's what they should do, and they should just use the world clock. Like, I don't know why we don't do that. Like, there's an advantage based on time zone to how long you can hold out and look for scores to populate. And I don't think that's not good.
Barkley, not Barclay. For those of you who give a shit. The first 3 workouts were each worth 5% more than the final 2 workouts. Jonathan Ortega, Barkley, can you explain that? Does anyone know what he's referring to? Boy, that's a really provocative statement.
Barclay explained that as provocative?
No, not that one. Thank you for the clarification. CrossFit, Sevon gives herd feelings on solo shows. What the fuck does that mean? Okay, maybe I'll send maybe I want to send Barkley a link. Maybe he'll come on. We can get that. Barkley, if you could call. If I have you. Oh shit, I don't have your phone number. Can someone
send him a link?
Yeah, could you send him a link? Do you want me to send
I got it.
Okay, thank you. If he's around, that would be. I would love to hear the explanation of that. JR, do you know what he's talking about? Oh,
I do. That's what we've been talking about the whole time.
He's saying that because 4 people didn't enter their scores. Okay, right. So it's relevant to the 4 people. Okay, so it's not that inherently they're worth 5% more.
Yeah.
It's the fact that 4 people didn't enter. Okay. All right, Barkley doing some math. Didn't you just tell us how to pronounce Barclay's name and now you're saying it wrong? Yeah, but didn't I also say that if you give a shit? So I think that's self-explanatory. But thank you for calling me out on my own show publicly. I like that. Okay, the women's leaderboard populating now on the Hustle Up app. Lydia Fish. Let me ask you the real hard question. Is she games caliber athlete?
Yeah.
She is now.
Yeah. Okay. And do you see any kind of relationship to the fact that these 5 workouts got Yona Koski in and Lydia Fish in? Maybe like that they weren't heavy enough to weed out athletes. Like, do you see any comparison between Lydia and Yona in terms of their ability and how they perform on these workouts? Just really quickly, the first workout had double unders and clean and jerks with what I would say is not any heavy clean and jerk, 245, 165 for the women. The second workout was burpees and a pretty light dumbbell, 70 and 50. And we saw Tom move the dumbbell like it was nothing. Then the next one was ring muscle ups, overhead squats at 125 for the women, 185 for the men, not heavy. Then we got wall balls and rope climbs, not heavy. And then these lunges, 115 and 80 in the front rack, not heavy. Are we seeing something there?
Yeah, and remember, I think it's important though when you're listing all the weightlifting movements and you're making this correspondence with strength, is that strength can be tested without external load. And there was a upper body strength gymnastics test, and there was an upper body pressing gymnastics test. So if we're talking about moving external objects, those 2 athletes would be ones that you would look at the program and you would say, hey, is there a 1 rep max or is there a 3 rep max? And is there something that they're going to take a hit on? But I would argue This is supposed to be a stage in between semifinals or IPQEs in the games. So this is the best of the rest. This is not a semifinal stage competition.
Mhm.
We already know who's not weak, and it should be all of these people, because at the qualifying events, all of them tested strength at least once, maybe twice, depending on where you went. So I would say that all of the athletes that could do the LCQ are strong enough already, and they don't need to prove that anymore. That this should have been more about fitness, and it should have been more about things that maybe haven't been tested uniformly. Like almost every semifinal, Torian and Asia were the only two that didn't do heavy Isabel. The only two, I think. And some of them also did max complexes. So they did a heavy barbell more than once. Well, all of these people that were eligible are now at this stage having done that as a test. So I think they've already proven that they're at least strong enough. And this should be more fitness, and it should also be more things that haven't been tested that probably will get tested at the games. And a lot of competitions didn't do volume legless rope climbs. They didn't do strict handstand push-ups. Most of them didn't actually do any handstand push-ups.
Most of them didn't even do 15-foot legless rope climbs.
So you're saying there's two things you're saying. You're saying that it didn't necessarily need to test max strength moving the external load because it had already been tested. So contingent on where they came from. But then the other thing you're saying is that their workout number 5, because of the handstand push-ups and then also the legless rope climb, that those required, and workout 4, that those required strength. What if I were to push back and I were to say, yeah, but that's just strength to body weight ratio? Is there any, weakness in your argument there, that if it is strength to body weight ratio, that it's not testing strength, or no, that that doesn't hold any water?
Isn't all strength to body weight ratio?
Yeah. Okay. You're saying like the 300-pound girl in your gym who has can do 225 for 30 reps on the deadlift. It's like, yeah, of course she can.
Well, I'm saying if we're not going to take body weight into consideration when we're talking about external load, we shouldn't also when we're talking about moving your body through space.
Okay. And the workout 5 had 30 strict handstand push-ups and 30 chest to wall.
60 strict. Yeah.
Strict handstand push-ups. Okay. Right. And ironically, Lydia Fish got first in that. I don't know if ironic is the right word.
Yeah. I think.
Oh, and Yonakoski got first in that.
Yeah, I think also another thing to consider, most of the in-person qualifying events did not test a 1-rep max, and that's something that we have done in the past, either with a complex or just to do it before or after a skill. That was the old way at regionals. You do something heavy right into maybe like a handstand walk or a 30 burpee muscle ups for time or something like that. If any of these athletes would have been really, really weak, they wouldn't have been able to finish in the top 10 of whatever, or the top 12 of any of the competitions they did. If they were that bad, they wouldn't have been able to overcome for it.
And also if they were really, really weak, there's just because there's no 1-rep max strength test in this, there's still workouts they would have done poorly on. And I think that Yonakoski and Lydia are obviously the right athletes to go, but also a lot of, especially online competitions and a lot of competitions with like 5 to 7 workouts in the last couple years of CrossFit have been so biased towards a heavier person. I don't think that just because we see Lydia and Yonakoski miss out a lot in those kind of competitions recently means that they're not the fittest people there. This is just a better test than we've seen from online things recently, because there's no place for a 1-rep max event in a 5 competition workout. The same way in an online event, we wouldn't have a marathon row or even like a marathon run, because it skews it so much to one way when there's only 5 scores, but people are so high on doing like heavy lifts and stuff like that. I think that skews it way more towards a strength athlete. When we're CrossFitters, we're not trying to find who's the strongest. We're trying to find who's not the weakest. You just want to be okay at everything, but it's not fancy to test that.
All that being said, it would be nice to see. I would be curious what the stats show that of all these people who are in the last chance qualifier, to see how they did on their heavy Isabel relative to the field. I wonder if there is one workout that like really stands out that this cohort struggled at. Lido, you need at least one, if not two spots from the last chance qualifier to make up for the fact that South America and Africa suck so bad. Lydia, oh no, sorry, didn't say that. That South America and Africa had regional restrictions. Lydia is definitely a games caliber athlete. CTP, good to see you, buddy. CTP from Training Think Tank, legend in the media space. He says, a Lydia Fish behind the scenes is in the work. We left the gym at 1 a.m. last night. Holy smokes. All right. That's going to be worth. Yeah. I can't wait to see that. I'll make sure to remind you guys when that's out. That'll be on the Training Think Tank YouTube station. What's up, Barkley?
What do you want?
Great question. Can you explain the 5% to us, how you come up with that?
9 athletes entered the score for the first 3 workouts. 7 athletes entered the score for the last 2 workouts. 9 plus 9 plus 9 plus 7 plus 7 is 41. So 9 divided by 41 is the value that the first 3 workouts had, which is 22%. And then 7 divided by 41 is the value that the last 2 workouts hold, which is 17%.
Does that come naturally to you to figure that out? Like, are you like, oh, this is easy?
Kinda.
Yeah. All right, dork. And when you say 7 of the 9, you're referring to the women?
No, the men, because Riley and Luke didn't enter their scores.
I thought
that's why the last place
4 men didn't
workout
enter their
4
score.
and workout 5 is 8th place.
But what about Shandren?
Correct. But and Dane.
They
didn't
didn't
enter a score
any
for any workout, so I'm just excluding them completely.
Okay. And can you give us that same math for the women? What was it? I haven't gone through the women. How many women didn't do the last?
All of them did it, so it's 20% across the board. So this is only like a concern for the men.
What about you? But Yuko, okay. And Yuko, Don Young, Gemma Hawk, and Lily Burkhead, they didn't do any of them.
Correct, because their score is 16th on every single workout, which is last, because 15 women enter their scores for every single workout.
Okay. For the women, we have Lydia Fish in first. Congratulations, Lydia. Definitely a hometown favorite here at the 7 Podcast. Kyra Milligan, very close. Lydia, by the way, had a 5th, 11th, a 1st, a 2nd, and 1st. Would you guys have thought that you could get 11th in the last chance qualifier and go to the games? That was in workout 2.
Either. Yeah, it's the burpee workout.
Yeah, with the dumbbell snatches. Why do you think that was rough for her? Would you think it was the row that slowed her down?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's going to be a problem for her. Can she fix that in the next, 3, 4, 5 years? Can you fix your row?
Well, yeah. I mean, I think she knows this, and a lot of people do. I mean, if John were on here, he would say it in a lot more comical way. But if she puts on, 10 pounds of lean mass, I mean, her weightlifting numbers go up, and she probably becomes a better rower. It's one of those correlates with body weight and being able to put out a lot of power on machines, right? But a really, really good thing for Lydia is that event 1, if she qualifies and all the video review goes through, is that she can still smash event 1 at the games because she's such a good runner. She's an amazing runner, and that workout has 6 miles of running in it. And the row is not going to mean as much unless you're at the very, very top. So she might not be able to take a top 3 because some girls are going to make up a lot of time on her on the row, but comparatively to the run, it's not even close to the same.
Can you think of any athletes, any 3 of you, that she's reminiscent of from the past as she enters the games this year? Like, I was thinking, who's the guy? Troy Han, the guy who would always win event 1, or a couple times, the 2 times he went to the games.
It was the swimmer.
Yeah, he was the swimmer guy. Are we going to see that from Lydia?
Yeah.
Is she going to have a couple, top 3 finishes and then really suffer at the games?
I think she'll probably have some pretty low finishes. Yeah, but she will also have really good events.
I kind of think of her as a younger Haley. That's kind
Yeah.
of how I think of her. Really, really, really aerobic, really gritty, really good at pacing, really, really good at some gymnastic skills, like maybe some of the best. But then is probably going to take hits on heavy stuff.
Barkley, and any thoughts on that?
The only
What does she
pushback
weigh?
I'd give on
125?
Haley,
Yeah.
105, 95.
No, 125.
The
Doesn't
only
what doesn't?
pushback I'd
Go ahead.
The only pushback I'd give on Haley Adams as the person, because like my first thought was Sam Briggs, but the two of them are so much. The issue that we've already mentioned is the machines, is the rowing specifically, and Briggs is good on the rower and Haley's good on the rower as well. So it's like the only pushback I would give on those two athletes as someone that Lydia's reminiscent of.
And what is Lydia? She's 125 pounds soaking wet.
Probably.
Will she be the smallest female athlete pretty much in the history of sport? Is she smaller than like Maddie Sturt? Can you think of anyone smaller than her?
In recent history, anyway, I'm sure like in the early days there was smaller girls.
Someone really tiny. Was
Mary
Harimo like 5'1", or is she like 5'3"?
Mary fuck kill, Sevon's nose, JR's biceps, Bryson's mustache. Wow. All right. That's, I think, the best fuck Mary fuck kill I've ever seen. It's a stupid game, and you kind of revived it. Annie Sakamoto. And Lydia is young enough to get strong, right? I mean, she's like prepubescent, right? She's like a kid.
She's 21.
Yeah, she's really young.
And great coaching staff, a training think tank. Perrin is absolutely amazing. It's doable. Like we could see a significant rise in her. She's not even at peak growth time, right? Maybe not even next year. Maybe 2 or 3 years we could see her make the biggest leap she's ever made in her career in terms of getting better at things.
I think so.
JR, thoughts on that? On her trajectory?
Yeah, I think so. But I just think about the athletes that are behind her and coming up. And I mean, they're not like Elsie Larson, Reese Littlewood. I mean, there's so many really, really good Miley Wade. There's so many really, really good girls coming up, and they're only younger than her. So if she's listening, the time is now. Maybe she can stop waiting tables 60 hours a week, and maybe making the games can get her a couple more sponsorships to where she can spend more time training.
So she has a full-time job like that?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that would make sense why she's so cool and why she seems like one of the coolest athletes out on the floor, because she seems grounded, well put together, and someone who gives a shit. That's incredible. Of course she has a day job.
I think she owns her own house. Like I think she's an adult. Yeah. Yeah.
I know she has a bunch of CEO shirts, so you can't go wrong there.
Yeah.
Does she have an agent?
No clue.
Pedro. Okay, so Lydia fifth, 11th, first, second, first. We're all shocked. Barkley, really bizarre, right? That an 11th place finish and you still made it to the games.
I don't think so. I think that back in 22, when Tim Paulson made it, he had some like double-digit finish as well. And
Okay,
I think that was only 4 sport workouts as well.
Okay.
It was, yeah.
Yeah, it's less likely, but still possible.
Kyra Milligan, a 2nd and 8th, a 7th, a 3rd, and a 3rd. Aline Wers, a 3rd, a 5th, a 2nd, a 6th, and an 11th. Nina Ragovic, 10th, 12th, 3rd, 1st, and a 4th. She got a 1st, huh?
Yeah, she got first on the legless workout.
Do we know what the max number of rope climbs? Do we know how many Nina did?
8.
Wow. And do we know how many the guy who won that workout? I think it was Yonakasi. Do we know?
No, it was Nika. He did 15.
Wow. Okay. And what did you get when you did it, JR?
14.
Wow.
But JR threw to an 11-foot target.
Oh, good point. And he would have never said that. So thank you. Yanni Chevry, a 4th, a 4th, a 10th, a 9th, and an 8th.
Why do you keep giving her a soft J?
I don't know. It can't be. What do you want me to? Janie. Do you know any Janie? Janie. I can't do Janie. Yanni. Do you know her? Do you know her, JR?
Yeah, she came to Crucible last year.
Is she a foreigner?
No.
Janie. Hi, Janie. Andrea Solberg. 7th, the 1st, the 14th, 11th, and a 2nd. So she's all the way down here in 6th place, and she has a 1st and a 2nd. Reese Littlewood, 8th, 14th, 6th, 5th, and 5th. Manon Anganese. Big surprise there. I mean, she has a ton of experience. Been to the games.
Yeah, and she's one that, I mean, Barkley can speak to this, but she's usually one that is like someone to qualify out for the Rogue out of the queue almost every year. Like she crushes Rogue qualifiers. And yeah, typically they're a little bit more beefy as far as like the weightlifting stuff goes. But yeah, she's someone going into it, like just talking around to coaches. We're saying that Manon has a really good chance because she's so good online.
I also, but I think she's a product of like what I was talking about earlier, like qualifiers in general and events, or I guess competitions with fewer number of events, like less than 7, have gotten really skewed towards a stronger athlete in the last 4 or 5 years of CrossFit. And I think that's why, and she's a product of that. To me, there's no question that Lydia's fitter than her, but rogue qualifiers or in affiliate semifinals, you know, all that kind of stuff. It wouldn't surprise me that Manon does better in those competitions because I think they're usually skewed towards a stronger athlete.
Jonathan Ortega Fish has a fat ring on that finger. She's engaged too.
I think married.
She's engaged or married. Yeah.
Holy shit. Yeah, she is like a real adult. That's crazy. By the way, what workout was that? Andrea Solberg has a 7th, the 1st, the 14th, the 12th, and the 2nd. Someone said at least she put her videos up. If you want to see her event-winning workout, it's the double under clean and jerk one. Was Solberg in?
Is it?
NorCal?
You just read off the finishes. You said the first was workout 2 or no?
Oh, sorry. Solberg got work. Sorry. You're right. So
that's
she got
that's
the row
double.
burpee. Yeah, row burpee snatches. Was she at NorCal? She was, right?
Yeah. She won the bike event, the bike erg.
Didn't she win something else too? Did she have 2 firsts there?
Didn't she win the pirouette or no?
I think she had 2 there. Okay, after Manon Anganese, Erica Folo, a 1st, a 10th, an 11th, a 10th, and a 9th. Who is that?
It's Barkley, I think.
I muted him and it didn't go away.
It did while he was muted. See?
Oh yeah, Barclay's on some crazy like modem telephone. Shit. He's using AOL. Hey, kind of a trip, right? Folo got a 1st. She must have felt great coming out with the double unders clean and jerks, and then got a 10th, 11th, a 10th, and a 9th.
Dang.
Holy cow. Those workouts just aren't good for her, or do you think she got injured? I mean, those are some bad finishes.
No, I don't know. I think this time of year, some people just don't have that pop, like especially after competing several times. I was talking to a coach this morning, and even if you don't take any WFP qualifiers or in-person competition into consideration, if you go down the leaderboard, almost all of them have competed 4 times. So if we count this weekend and we count an affiliate, that's 2. And almost everybody on those lists have competed twice in person. So that's 4 competitions in like a 10-week period if you're considering week 1 being like the Mayhem Classic. So like Seth and some of those guys doing the Mayhem. If not, it's been 4 competitions in like 8 weeks.
Yeah, that's insane.
Which is interesting because you have one of the shortest, working CrossFitters or youngest CrossFitters, Lydia, who won, newest to the game. And then on the men's side, you have probably the most senior.
Yeah, and worth mentioning, Lydia did WFP, but she hadn't competed in person at all yet this year. She went to Syndicate. That was the first time she competed in person, and she didn't do the affiliate.
Oh, okay. But she did it was the WFP one. Was that in person?
Yeah.
Okay. And then Holly Tynan, 11th, 7th, 12th, 4th, and 12th. And then Carolyn Prevost, this kind of trips me out. A 13th, a 3rd, a 5th, a 12th, and a 14th. What does that say? She was impeccable at NorCal Classic, very close to going.
Yeah, but I mean, she put all her eggs in that. I think she even said like she hadn't done a lot of competing, and she probably peaked for NorCal. She was right there in contention to take a spot, and to come down to compete the very next weekend, I think is still a tall order for anyone that competed the week before.
JR, it's not you worked out at NorCal, you got so close, you're so fired up, you heal up in 3 or 4 days, and you're fitter than you've ever been, and you go a second round. It's not like that.
I think it can be based on the person, and I think this goes back to the discussion we had before, and it comes down to programming, it comes down to environment, and if you thrive in the gym or if you thrive under the lights, it's just a little different.
Clydesdale Media, good morning, Scott. She said she was mentally struggling this weekend. Yeah. And that's what you're saying.
That's understandable, especially when you came that close. I mean, for sure.
Go ahead, Bryson.
I was gonna say, like with JR's point, like she could have peaked for NorCal. When I think about athletes peaking and stuff like that, I know you do training wise a little bit, but to me, I think more of just like mentally peaking. Like if mentally she's like, hey, I'm getting my spot at NorCal for the last few months, and that's all she's thinking about while she's training, and she's giving it everything she has in every single NorCal event, and then she doesn't make it through NorCal, I wouldn't even be like physically that burnt out from it. Obviously you are like sore and stuff, but you can rest 2 days in a row and then be fine and ready to do another online competition. But just mentally having to do that when you're also not getting the push from the people around you, like JR also mentioned, all that kind of stuff. I think it's just more of a mental burnout and like too quick of a mental turnaround to get yourself amped up for that. That's how I would guess. And that's how it would be for me. But maybe it was something different.
Dear friends, especially the only 4 of you that I ever talk on the phone, why do you insist on calling me every single morning between 7 and 8:30 a.m.? I have a show on YouTube, a little podcast called the Sevon Podcast. There's no reason ever to call me between 7 and 8:30 a.m. Probably make it 9:30, because then I go inside and hang out with my kids for an hour. Don't call me once. Don't call me twice. Don't call me 3 times. I only have 4 friends. Okay. And it also, to kind of pile on to what you were saying, she was so close.
Mm-hmm.
And I think at one point I remember thinking, holy shit, she's for sure going to the games. Like at NorCal, she was so close. I was like, man, she's going to do it. She had the skills. She had the experience. She clearly has the heart. And so she probably also had that emotional roller coaster also, right? Try to get back up one more time was probably pretty hard.
I would think what you're talking about, like, oh, you just competed at NorCal, now it's a quick turn, and you didn't get your spot, it's a quick turnaround. I would think that would happen more from someone who did really poorly at NorCal, like had just a bad day, like 2 events in a row went really poorly, you didn't execute, and then you were farther out than a couple points. Or was she even tied with Hattie, and Hattie got the tiebreaker? I don't know how close it was, but she was really close. I would think if she was farther away and just had a bad competition, that would fire you up more to be like, fuck that. That wasn't as good as I am. Like, I'm going to show these guys in the last chance. But if you give it everything you have and you feel like everything's going well and you're executing and you just barely miss it, I would just be like mentally like, I need a fucking month.
And for those of you who didn't see the NorCal Classic, the very last race, it was a rope climb, clean and jerk event. And you had to go back and forth between the 2. And although I don't want to take anything away from Hattie because her pacing was absolutely insane and she was winning the entire race, but Carolyn was right on her tails the entire time. And whoever won that was going to go to the games. And so Hattie, with 30 seconds left, Hattie gets to the bar, and with 20 seconds, Carolyn Prevost gets to the bar, and they both fail the workout, the final lift, and Hattie gets to go because they both failed it. And like I said, I don't want to take anything away from Hattie because she paced it perfectly and she got to the final bar first. But a lot of people have speculated that if there was 30 seconds more on the workout, Carolyn would have nailed the workout and she would have won that workout, and then she would have gone to the CrossFit Games. So that also was probably a little bit of a punch to the gut for Miss Prevost. Jamie Latimer, it's taxing. It's a taxing process getting the two judges lined up, dealing with other schedules. I bet. Especially for 5 workouts in just a couple of days. Sevon, did you figure out who's in Dave's Instagram story? Someone sent me a photo. I think Kippy and Real sent me a photo of Allison Scuds wearing that exact same outfit.
Yeah, it's Scuds.
And Scuds is a regular. I know she's close with Dave, and her husband's close with Dave. And so I think that over the years, they have tested a lot of workouts, and she was head of the demo team 1 year.
And plus the stance that she's in is the exact same as Ben Smith's the day before. And if you listen to the Ben Smith interview in like the first 10 seconds, Dave says, pretty excited you get to come out here and test some new equipment. So that's something cool that maybe Scuds and Ben Smith were both testing for the games using a new implement, which is exciting for dorks like me.
I thought you were going to say you recognized her stance. Scuds is kind of amazing how long she's been going at this level. Plus with the Alex Gazan situation, Alex got in a car accident. We're not sure if she's going to make it to the games. She was called by CrossFit, and talking with Alex, that took some mental toll as well. Okay, so
yeah, because if you're Caroline, you hate that a competitor was injured in any circumstance, but also you're next in line. So you kind of are, well, do I need to really stay in shape? Do I need to mentally just assume I'm going to the games, or do I need to just accept that I'm not and start thinking about the Masters games? Because she's probably the front runner to win that if she goes there. Because if you're not mentally in it, like, hey, Alex isn't going to be able to compete, I need to be ready. Or if you're like, okay, Alex is going, I need to let that go. I need to think about the next thing. So, yeah, I could see the mental toll for sure.
I think the adaptive games are over a month after the CrossFit Games in Albany. And I think the adaptive games are in Vegas this year. Is that the same with the Masters?
I think the dates are online. I'm not sure if it's exactly a month, but I think it's far enough apart to where you could compete in both.
Okay, and that's where I was headed. Thank you. So I guess on one hand, it's if she's committed to going to the Masters games, maybe it's not as big of a deal to also stay ready for the CrossFit Games. But I clearly see your point, and she's not going to know until the first week of July. Alex has until I think 3 weeks before the games to make her decision. If that, that was what her and Dave talked about. I don't think Dave gave her a final answer, but I think that's what they talked about. Do you think that's fair to give her up until 3 weeks?
Bryson.
I mean, let me say this, but let me say this before you answer. Really, she doesn't ever have to answer because she qualified and she can just say she's going and not go. So my take on it is that Alex gives any notice that it's kind of her, even if she gave a 1 week notice. That's my take on it. She earned that spot. You can do it. You can buy a brand new car and drive it off a cliff if you want. It's yours.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think 3 weeks is reasonable. I mean, you never know how rehabs are going to go. Some people are just way ahead of schedule. Some people encounter setbacks. Some people go in and have procedures after the fact because something wasn't repaired properly. Like, there's so much that can happen during that time. So I guess making her give a definitive answer earlier than that is a little bit silly.
I was going to say, because of your point, Sevon, like, she could still accept and then just not show up, and then it's just a vacant spot. So giving her more time to do it is probably mitigating that. Because if you only give her, if it's like, hey, you have to accept or decline the day you get your invitation, the day after you win NorCal or whatever, then it's like, oh, well, of course, if she doesn't know, of course she's going to accept. And now there's a higher chance of there just being a vacant spot at the games. But if you give her 3 weeks, then it's like, okay, well, maybe she will know in 3 weeks if she can or can't. And then we have an opportunity to backfill maybe. So I get it, but and the same way that Alex can do whatever she wants with it, Dave can do whatever he wants with the invites. Like, I don't think anything's right or wrong. Dave can say, hey, you have 3 weeks, or you have 24 hours, or you have until the night before the games. So
I'm not sure what the standing is behind this. She should not be testing games workouts. I have no idea what that means. Why not? Please do not let it be the stair stepper. One more thing here. Smith and Scuds testing the Stairmaster for sure. You know, I implore someone like NorCal to be the only semifinal in the future that doesn't have any machines. I'm so tired of machines. I feel like the last thing we need, I know this is a digression for the show, the last thing we need is more machines. Do you have any thoughts on that?
No, I think they're important. Unless you're going to be.
Why do you think they're important? Because the games uses them, or because they're a good valid test of fitness? Because JR, you know this. We are the machine. We are the machines. We don't use the machines.
Right, but by nature, and this is even an argument, but if we concede that we have running and we have double unders, unless we're actually going to get on a real bike or swim, we have 2 monostructural movements, and everything else is gymnastics and weightlifting. So if you think that the programming has been shifted a little bit to the bigger athlete, some would say it's because of the implementation of a lot of machines. It's all just based on how you present them, though. And that's where the programming comes into play. Then I would say you still need to have the machines in the mix, because if not, then you're inevitably going to replace it with more weightlifting, probably.
So let me just throw this out there really quick. So there's these accoutrements you could use at the games, right? Weight belts, grips, and you could even say shoes. You could be a pure purist and be like, hey, if we're going to test the fittest, we're going to make everyone do it barefoot, right? But those are the 3 things. Is there anything else that you're allowed to use at the game? Chalk. You're allowed to. What are the things you're allowed? Chalk, weight belt, grips, shoes, knee sleeves. I mean, the bicycle, I don't know when the bicycle was invented, but is the bicycle even relevant in the test of fitness? Or the rower?
I mean, I think if you're going to test fitness, you should be testing body weight. You should be testing strength. You should be testing running, biking, swimming. Like, I don't think you should call yourself the fittest on earth and not be able to do all 5 of those things. But of all of them, I would say swimming is the most niche, is the most specific to exposure, I guess you could say. Like, someone who swam when they're 10 years old, that isn't nearly as fit as someone who has been swimming every single day for the last 20 years. The fact that the person that's been swimming, that swam all the way till they were 10, can still beat them in the water is a little bit, I mean, I think we can argue that for sure. Like, does swimming have a place because it's so specific?
Yeah, and I feel that way about biking, but I'm coming from it from a different place. I'm thinking of it as like the caveman games.
Yeah, I think swimming is.
But I hear JR's point.
I think just because someone's been doing it since they were 10 doesn't mean they shouldn't get that benefit from doing it since they were 10. It's not like they were born a good swimmer.
Yeah, and I meant all the way up until 10. So they haven't been swimming and focusing on it since they were 10. So for 20 years they haven't been doing it, but because that was locked in for the first 5 years of their life, that they can still crush people that have been trying to get better at swimming for the last 20 years.
And hey, and the truth is that getting on a stationary bike is nothing like testing bicycle riding. I don't think that there's an equivalent in swimming. I can't think of one. Maybe it's pool swimming versus ocean swimming, but I just think the difference between riding a stationary bike and a real bike is, I think the stationary bike even makes it more ridiculous.
I think especially at the games, there should be less machines, but I think we should swim more than once.
Wow.
Always. I mean, as long as you have more than like 13 events, which I would say they do a lot of the time. I think there's a place for more swimming. They usually test running a lot, and I think it's good, and they should. Because I think about when you're saying the fittest human on Earth, you are talking about, I kind of think about it like you're saying, Sevon, like the caveman games. Like, hey, this is your body, and what can you do with it? And
Right.
on this Earth, you're either like traversing land or water. That's it. So why? And we know that running is super important and should be tested more than anything else. I think swimming should too.
Since in the last 10 years, running has been tested on average 3 times every year at the games, which is pretty crazy. And some years it's been like 5 or 6, and some have been 2, but on average it's been 3. And I think that running a 550 sprint and then doing like a run, row, run, they're so different in the expression of fitness and power and everything. I think it's great.
Yeah.
I think if you wanted to do a 500-meter row for time, and then you wanted to do a 10K for time row, yeah, those are very different. But then we just get into the argument of, okay, well, how many times should we squat? Okay, how many times should we pull? Okay, then if we're going to do that many times, why can't we row twice? Why can't we run twice? Why can't we bike twice? Why can't we swim twice? All that stuff.
Great question. Who has to give notice first, T or Alex?
I think it should be the same. Whatever he tells Alex, I think should be the same for everybody.
John George, JR, as a coach, as a human, as a man, as a father, as an affiliate owner, as a Chippendale dancer, can you train and be prepared for the games with a broken leg?
I mean, you could obviously train. Can you be prepared for something? Sure. Maybe not as prepared. But the thing is, too, with someone as fit as Alex, she's not just going to get out of shape in 3 or 4 weeks. She's just not.
What will go first, the metabolic capacity or the strength?
I think the strength goes first. Not in like that she couldn't get it back within a couple of days, but like if you can't lift heavy and then you show up and have to lift heavy without having done it, it's going to feel, I would think it would feel pretty bad. She could get it back within a week of lifting heavy. Like, I don't think it actually will leave, but it'll feel the most rusty, I think.
And I would say like the 20+ minute time domain, I don't think goes away as fast, but the 7 to 8 of just hurting at games intensity, I think that would go away faster. I think if you're not touching that weekly, you can't be expected to go there. But
yeah, I mean, I don't know how specific we're getting, but I always think about that. Like if like a gymnastics and weightlifting couplet that, like you're saying, is like 7 to 8 minutes. I think that's the hardest thing to be ready for if you're not doing it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And by that, something like Fran.
Yeah, or like in their case, like, you know, something a little bit beefier, like games level, but even if they did like friendly Fran. Yeah.
The fittest shaman, also, that's how I sit too. I like to sit like that during the show. Also, for all the safety babies, no one bitched and complained in 2013 pull bar muscle up event. No chalk, wet palms. John George, the bike rope climb event at COVID Games was cool as shit. If that were done on Echo Bike, it would not have been nearly as good. Is that the one where someone came in? No.
That was bike repeater. It was just like one legless rope climb, 10 rounds. It was very similar to the legless one that they redid at semifinals, and that was really cool. You got to see who could handle a bike because you had to go out and back and turn, and it was cool.
I was fortunate enough to be at the ranch when they were testing that, and Jason Carroll tested it, and he's insane on a bicycle.
Mm-hmm.
And
awesome at legless too.
and his transitions were absolutely nuts. Which then you could take it back to kind of what you were talking about, Bryson, people who have just like a ton of experience on a bike,
Mm-hmm.
on an actual bike, had a huge benefit. Okay, so Lydia Fish, Yonikoski, we won't know for sure until it sounds like June 20th, which is Friday. I don't know if they've given us a time for that. All the other times for submissions were 11:59 p.m., but I don't suspect anything weird with their videos. Do you guys? Especially since they're not. Well, I mean, shit. We just have to take their word on it because the playoffs are hidden from the fans.
Yeah, I don't think so. The only thing, I'm just thinking about all the workouts. The biggest thing I can think of is overhead squats. People could get dinged on that, but I don't think Yonikoski or Lydia Fish would.
And when you see that, what's the most common fault you're thinking? Not standing up all the way,
Yeah.
or not going, not standing. Okay,
Yeah,
not deaf, but not standing up all the way.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else you guys want to add?
Nope.
All right. So next event, August 1st. Is that when the games start?
Yeah, August 1st, and the age group games are the 21st
of August.
Yep.
So today is June 16th. August 1st. What is August 1st?
Friday.
I can't find it. Okay, and August 1st is a Friday. So what is that? About 14. So we're about 44 days away.
Just go check Dallin Pepper's Instagram and he'll tell you.
Is he doing that? He's doing the countdown?
He does it every day. Well, I don't know if he's done it every day, but he at least does it most days. He does a brief run of his training. Just tells you what he did that day.
Oh, that's cool. See, so that's promoting the games. I wish every
really
athlete I wish every athlete did this. This is awesome. Let me
All right, guys. I got to go back and coach.
All right, thank you, JR.
See ya. Okay.
So, yep.
Where do I go? Just look at his most recent post. 46 days until the CrossFit Games. Good job, Dallin. Holy shit. Oh, I thought he was going to... I wanted to see him jump on that full speed. What was that? What was he testing there?
He's testing the lactate in his blood.
That's something you do after a workout?
Yeah, I've never done it. I don't know 100%, but I know it's basically a better way to do zone training because your heart rate isn't always 100% accurate. A lot of people use zone 2 heart rate for that, but you can use the lactate in your blood and get way more accurate.
Why does he have a ball between his legs here?
Just being ready for the unknown and unknowable, I guess.
Okay, but it says remembering 2022 and 23. Oh, just because there was some. That was the one where there was the parallettes and you had to push to a handstand on shit like that.
Yeah,
stuff.
Yeah, I wonder if that's just just remembering when there was crazier stuff, or I don't know if you ever did grid or anything like that. I know.
Hey, that might be easier, right? Because you have something to squeeze your legs on.
I know. I don't think that's easier.
Oh, okay. Down cleaning the rain gutters, 48 days, 49 days. All right. Head on over to Dallin Pepper's Instagram account. It's just Dallin Pepper. Give him a follow. All right, cool. Great show. Easy. I was preparing for a show all last night. I forgot that we're doing the show. I was so happy when I woke up this morning. It's just this. Anything else in the comments, Sevon? You're reacting to all this training content like my grandma does. Okay, good. Thank you, Mr. Lightfoot. Nice to see you. Tell your grandma I said hi.
Ari Lightfoot. What's up, brother?
Jonathan Ortega. Well, if Imogene shows a broken fib and she accepted invite, it's broken and she's going. I don't.
She could just not go. That's what
he's saying?
No, that's what we were saying earlier. Even if she accepts, she could still not go.
Seth D. Spin just released that Bailey Martin did the vax. Yeah, you know what's crazy is someone in the comments said that you're more likely to have a heart attack if you had COVID than if you had than if you got the vaccine. Listen, if you believe that, you are absolutely batshit crazy. Just for starters, just remember we have no baseline cohort. Just remember that. The guy who wrote that's a complete jackass, and he shouldn't be spreading misinformation like that. You don't inject anything into your bloodstream, especially at 6 months old, to alter your immune system. Have a fucking brain. Just think for yourself for a fucking second.
Your body's a pretty crazy thing. It's not built to stop working as long as you put the right things into it.
Have a deep. I'll say this too. If you disagree with me, have a deep understanding of what T cells do, your first line of defense, before you inject anything into your bloodstream to fuck with your immune system. All right. Anything else, anyone? Make sure you head on over to
Yonikoski and Lydia.
Yeah, congratulations to them. Both deservingly going to the games. And make sure you head on over to Vindicate, VNDK8.com, Vindicate.com. Get all your shirts. The new Jesus shirt is so dope.
I want
Paper Street Coffee, BiomaxPeptides.com. What all the cool kids are doing. Someone asked me the other day if I have a discount code for BirthFit. I don't know if I do. Talk to you guys later. What's today? Monday?
Monday.
Oh, I'll see you guys this evening with the Dave Castro Weekend Review. Bye-bye. Sentinel.